Hello everybody, my name is Wilder, and I don't know about you, but I have been having a ton of fun with Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town ever since it came out. That's kind of why this review is a little bit late, so sorry about that, but I have played quite a bit of this game, and I have a really good feel of what I like and don't like about it. So let's just get right into it. Let's take a look at Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. This game released in North America for the Switch and for PC on July 14th, 2020. It's a remake of the original Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town on the Game Boy Advance, which is a very fantastic game. This remake is a very true remake. However, it is not a one-to-one remake, which is a good thing. The awesome thing about remakes is you're able to change stuff, you're able to add quality of life features, add mechanics or content, which really spices the game up and makes it a little more modern. Whether it looks a little more modern or feels a little more modern. And that's exactly what this game does. There's a ton of new content in here. They've changed some mechanics, there are new characters, new events and cutscenes, new animals, new pets, upgrades. They really did add quite a bit. And I will say right off the bat that all the new stuff they added in, all the quality of life changes, they all work really well. And they fit well. That's the important part. They really fit well. And before we get into the new stuff, I want to talk about the game itself a little bit. Mineral Town is the name of the town near the farm that you inherit from your grandfather. So we're living on a farm. Wouldn't have it any other way. Now the goal of this game is to build up your farm, take care of your animals, take care of your crops, make money off them, make friends, get married, have a family, enjoy life in Mineral Town. If that sounds kinda simplistic or maybe a little bit basic, that's because it kind of is. And that is definitely not a bad thing. This game takes us back to the series' roots in a new and exciting way thanks to its new content and charming new visuals. I want to get more into this, so let's talk about what I really liked about Mineral Town. First of all, it's simplistic, like I was saying, and that's not a bad thing. We're going back to the series' roots with this game. It has a lot of easy goals to complete that feel super rewarding while still being a lot of fun. Upgrade your house, upgrade your barn, get all the animals, get married, stuff like that. For a genre where developers fall into this trap of dumping a ton of mechanics and features and content into the game to make it interesting because they're so afraid that a farming sim alone isn't going to cut it, but then it turns out that half of those mechanics turn out to be not fun and just a chore, and then, everyone realizes that the main gameplay loop is the most fun in the game. For a genre where that is a trap that developers fall into more often than not, Mineral Town is a breath of fresh air here. Mineral Town, I will say this, has a huge focus on its core gameplay. And that works really well and it's really fun. It doesn't try to overwhelm you with a bunch of new mechanics that you've never seen before that are super engaging, which don't turn out to be very engaging. Instead, it focuses on its core gameplay loop and makes that a ton of fun so you never get bored. It works really well, and it does a lot of favors to this series. This is a perfect point to get into the series if you never have. You've always heard about Harvest Moon games, you wanted to play them, never did? Pick up Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. It's a great starting point. It knows what it wants to be, and it's not trying to waste your time by being something bigger or grander than what it actually is. And that's awesome. But, moving on to graphics. This was a popular point of discussion in the comments section in a lot of my videos. People either loved the look of this game or they thought it was complete trash. I personally really liked it. The character models are cute, they're charming along with the animals. The game itself is really pretty too. I was actually blown away by some of the trailers we got of springtime. Spring in this game looks beautiful. And the game itself runs so smoothly. I can't talk for the PC version, because I did play this on the Switch, but I'm sure the PC version is fine. On Steam it has a 97% approval rating. As long as you're not playing this game on a potato, you're probably fine. But speaking of visuals, let's talk about these character redesigns. I've been covering these redesigns for a while on my channel through videos as they've been announced. We've had a lot of discussions, a lot of conversations, you and I, about a lot of these characters. So if you don't know, all these characters got redesigned, some more than others, to have an updated look, because the original designs from the original Friends of Mineral Town, those were from 2003, and those weren't even the original designs of those characters. They were reused characters. So they were pretty old, and now they've been updated. Now, while I don't love every redesign, I don't dislike any of them, to be honest. I think they all on their own look good, but most importantly, they fit into this game. They really do fit. Yes, even Karen, who I thought would stick out like an absolute sore thumb, her redesign is way better once you actually start playing it. And just to be clear, I don't dislike her redesign as a whole, I just prefer her original. But once you actually start playing it, like I said, this is fine. It feels fine. And that's a big thing with these redesigns. Once you actually are playing, you're in the game, you're in Mineral Town, talking to them, seeing events and cutscenes, seeing hard events, going to festivals with them, they all feel a lot better than that initial comparison to the originals, when we first found out about them and when we first laid eyes on these redesigns. Most of them feel like the same characters as well, which is a huge plus. There are a few that I was like, there's a few redesigns which are really, really different, but most of them do feel like the original characters we know, and that is a huge plus. But sticking with characters, let's talk about the two new kids on the block, Jennifer and Brandon. Now, as excited as I was to see these two when we first found out about them, I did have a few worries as to how they were going to fit into Mineral Town. This is a remake of a very good game with characters and events that we know well. Most of us do anyway. And bringing in two brand new characters, marriage candidates no less, made me a little worried. I was really excited to meet them, but I did have a few worries. But if I'm being 100% honest, I had nothing to worry about. Brandon and Jennifer fit in and mesh so well with the rest of Mineral Town, they feel natural in a lot of the scenes that they're in. A big reason as to why I think they fit well is because they're so different from all the other characters, with the way they talk and present themselves. Talking to them for the first time, they can seem pretty weird and very, very out of place, but once you actually start to become friends with them, you see a few scenes with them, maybe hard events or just events in general, and once they start to open up to you a bit, they're very interesting characters. They're very fun to talk to and learn about. I'm a huge fan of them both, and I'm really glad they fit so well into the game because it was something I was genuinely worried about. But they've easily become two of my favorite characters in Mineral Town. Moving on, the mines. Both the Spring Mine and the Lake Mine, the Lake Mine only available in winter, are both a lot of fun to go into. I never thought much of the mines in the original Friends of Mineral Town, since they weren't really anything special or crazy mechanics-wise. But I found myself spending a ton of time in the mines this time around, just trying to get as far as I could and finding all the secrets. It's a lot of fun to take a bunch of food in there and come out with so much ore or gems and just dump them all in the shipping bin knowing you'll be rich the next day. Time also doesn't move while you're inside buildings, and this includes the mines, so you can stay in there for as long as your stamina will let you. Speaking of stamina, the stamina meter, along with a ton of other quality of life changes that came with this game, are a huge plus. Being able to see your stamina and to have a number for it from day one is such a relief. It makes managing your work so much easier, as well as being in the hot spring. You can actually see how much stamina you're recovering and how slow it is, because it's kind of slow. Your inventory showing in the corner of the screen is great as well, in the same way as seeing your stamina makes it easier to keep track of things. And then there's like a bunch of other little quality of life changes, like having bells that call your animals out attached to the barn and the chicken coop. That one is great. What about being able to walk through your crops? Need I say more? My middle tomato no longer needs to suffer. It's great. Even the new animals that were added in, such as the strawberry, coffee, and fruit cows, the alpaca, the Angora rabbit, and then a bunch of the pets too, like the penguin and the capybara. I love those two, by the way. I mean, all these additions are great. They really add to your farm without, like I said before, dumping a bunch of new mechanics in that overwhelm you and that you don't like anyway. Just little things that really add to the life on your farm. There's a ton more new things in this game too, like I said, and I love them as well. Being able to change your clothes, that is an awesome one. Picking between a classic look or a more modern look for your character, when we first found out about that, I was pretty excited about the new character designs. The inclusion of same-sex marriage, and the fact that they don't just pass it off as the best friend system, thanks for that, not so me. I know a lot of people are super excited about that, and they've been wanting it for a while, so I hope that continues for the series. The new events, both relating to the new characters and ones that are just new for the sake of getting to know the other Mineral Town residents a bit more. I mean, this game is a ton of fun. This game is fun. There's a lot of new content. People always said that Mineral Town was one of, if not the best Harvest Moon game. And while I always agreed with them, just based on how good Mineral Town actually was, and how much I loved its core gameplay loop, I could never really get into it very much. I didn't actually make it very far in the original Mineral Town, if I'm being honest. But with this remake, it's a completely different story. I could not put it down to write this review. I love this game, and it's definitely now in my top 3 Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons games. With that being said, however, let's talk about some of the things I didn't like a whole lot. There aren't a ton of things here, but I made this list anyway because there's a few things. First thing though, time moves too fast. I know this is kind of a little debated topic. People have different playstyles, people enjoy different ways of setting up your days, and this is not a huge issue. You know, I love Harvest Moon 64 to death, and that game is straight up unfair when it comes to time, so I'm used to time being too short in Harvest Moon. I've played a ton of Harvest Moon 64. I just think that, especially in early game, it can become a struggle against the clock to get everything done, even after cutting things out of your day. I'm fine and used to it, like I said, but I just think there wouldn't have been a problem with slowing it down just a fraction. Nothing to make the days seem like they're so long that, oh my god, please be over, but just a little fraction. Next thing, I wish I could buy clothes. I really wish I could buy clothes. Starting the game with all the clothes is really cool. You know, it's cool and all, I get to pick as many outfits as I want. But I would have liked to buy and collect them since the whole game is built around completing your farm by unlocking, collecting, and upgrading things. It would have been a nice extra to collect and would have fit well with how the game flows and operates. The characters have no dialogue. I know that this was a problem in the original Mineral Town as well, which is why I thought that they would have tried to fix this at least a little for the remake, but it wasn't touched. The characters have such little dialogue that they end up saying the same things to you every day. Now, this will change a bit when you become better friends with them, but then they'll say a different same thing to you every single day. I know that in a game like Animal Crossing, talking to your villagers is one of the main mechanics of the game, so maybe this isn't a good comparison to bring up, but Animal Crossing really taught me that the dialogue that's given to me doesn't have to be anything heartfelt or amazing every time. All I'm looking for is variety. Next, I hate winter. Winter sucks. Winter is an extremely quiet month. And while it looks amazing in this game, what with everything being covered in frost, snowmen in Mineral Town, the snow falling and it getting a little darker on snowy days, I love that, by the way, how dark it gets on snowy days. Winter looks and feels amazing, but it is boring. The lake mine opens up during winter, which is great, but I think winter is really bad. You can't plant anything in winter, it takes a lot out of your daily schedule, time doesn't move while you're in the mine either, so the lake mine being open is cool and all, but you know, once you come out, it's going to be the same time as when you went in. Winter does allow you to catch up on relationships and explore Mineral Town more freely and take care of your animals a bit more, but my problem with it is the regular gameplay almost feels completely halted for a month. It can be very abrupt. It can feel very abrupt, and it does. It's halted. The gameplay is super halted for me. And with that, I'm done with my likes and dislikes. There's obviously more I like, and there's probably a few more problems that I have, but I didn't have a whole lot of dislikes, and I had to grab some that weren't exactly problems, but that's a lot of what I think about the game, and a lot of its mechanics. I enjoy this game immensely. It's a wonderful return to form when it comes to the Harvest Moon / Story of Seasons genre, and I think it's a great entry for Story of Seasons. You know, it's a great starting point too. I know there are a lot of people who would love to get into Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons, and they never have in the past, and this is a perfect starting point. As a remake, this game also gets my seal of approval. It's very true without being a complete one-to-one remake that makes you wonder why you paid money for it while the original Mineral Town is sitting right next to you. There's enough different and there's enough new and enough quality of life features, if I'm being honest, that makes this worth it even if you own the original. If you are a fan of the original, this is definitely worth it. It's the same Mineral Town we all know and love, but it also throws in a really good amount of content and new stuff that makes sure to add to your experience and keep you busy. I recommend this game to not only anyone who might even be a little bit interested in it, but fans of this genre, just the genre in general. If you're looking for some back to basics, good old Harvest Moon farming, this is the best experience you can find. But that's going to be all from me today. What did you think about Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town? Do you like this remake? Have you gotten it yet? Are you going to? Let me know in those comments down below. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. All links are down in the description along with the names of my wonderful, amazing patrons. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one.